So what did these consultants say? Well, the first report was very weak. It didn't include any data after 2003, even though it was published in 2006. Not a literature review that would get a good grade in my class, let me tell you. But Dr. Cohen still said the limited research on supervised injection sites indicated that may achieve some of the expected benefits, and there was no evidence that supervised injection sites increased the number of drug users, made drug users more resistant to treatment, or decreased public order by expanding drug scenes or attracting drug users and dealers from other locations. Ray Corrado, I think, did a very nice job on his report. He said, in general, the initial assessment of outcomes has been consistently positive. The above review of Insight's evaluation methodology is confirmed by the number of publications and major refereed journals such as Lancet, which is an internationally renowned journal with a very rigorous methodological review criteria and low manuscript acceptance rate. There is, therefore, little to criticize or express caution over in the methodologies reported in the publications. So, what did the RCMP do? They didn't release these evaluations, but they did get leaked to the media. Ironically, when I was at the International AIDS Conference, along with many people who are here today, a communications person told me, sorry guys, it seems like the Conservative government is not going to use the AIDS Conference to make an announcement on the future of Insite. Instead, in the coming weeks, there will be 2 announcements by 2 federal law enforcement groups, which will be followed by the minister's announcement. And I thought this was just a communications consultant trying to make it sound like he really had the inside knowledge and therefore we should keep paying him to do his job, but gee, he was actually right. On August 28th, only 3 days before Tony Clement announced his decision on the future of Insite, the RCMP had this on their website, and it was basically them commenting on the 2 consultant evaluation reports, which confirmed our findings, and basically said that these reviews reflect the opinions of the authors, but not the RCMP. Then, literally, only 2 hours before Tony Clement made his decision, announced his decision on the future of Insite, on the Friday of the September long weekend, the Canadian Police Association issued their release saying that they were urging the federal government to cut off all support for the controversial program in the downtown east side. And one of Vancouver Police Department's own constables, the president of the Vancouver Police Association, vice president of the National Association said, we've created this enabling environment that's resulted in a sense of entitlement among drug addicts. This harm reduction focus has led to unprecedented levels of crime in our city. Our citizens are saying that they don't feel safe. I guess he didn't read our crime paper. So then, at 4:20 on the Friday of the Labor Day weekend, Tony Clement and Health Canada issued this response. And this is an editorial which I think summarizes the announcement well. But what did the health minister say? He said, do safe injection sites contributing to lowering drug use and fighting addiction? Right now, the only thing the research to date has proven that addicts need more help to get off drugs. Minister Clement has deferred the decision on the Vancouver application until December 31st, 2007, during which time additional studies will be conducted into how supervised injection sites affect crime prevention and treatment. Despite the new questions raised by research, Minister Clement then halted funding into our proposal, despite the recommendation of Health Canada that it be funded. But it turns out that at the same time, the Conservative government was also using their tax dollars to secretly conduct a public poll on Canadians' attitudes about Insite. But they didn't release it. You know why? Because it showed that 71% of British Columbians support Insite, and 60% of Canadians supported Insite. And ironically, a lack of knowledge of Insite is correlated with not supporting it. The more you know about it, the more you support it. But they didn't release those findings. So let's talk a little bit about interference in peer review processes. Again, the scientific peer review system is really among modern science's greatest strength, and it's there to provide an important layer of protection against biases. Historically, when concerns of political interference or disregard for the peer review process have been suspected, these instances have been met with swift condemnation by the scientific community, since they have potential to undermine the entire process by which evidence-based policy is derived. So, Health Canada recommended that our proposal be funded. And we were not told why Minister Clement didn't honor that decision. Typically, a government rubber stamps a recommendation like this from Health Canada. And it was only through a Freedom of Information request that we were able to obtain the reviewers' comments on our proposal. So let's look at what the reviewers had to say about our proposal. Reviewer 1, there's been a strikingly high yield of scientific output during the first 2.5 years of this research study with important scientific communications in high-impact journals. I would strongly recommend that the research funding support be provided to enable the continued evaluation of Insite. Reviewer 2, the scientific evaluation is methodologically robust. The Canadian scientific evaluations contributed more to public health than all international SIS evaluations combined. Reviewer 3, basically I consider this proposal to be superb and of extremely high importance. This research team has to date produced extremely valuable research results. In summary, I am in full enthusiastic support for this proposed research. So I don't think my mother could have written a more glowing evaluation of my work, and why Minister Clement couldn't get the gist of this, I don't know. So I told you that the RCMP funded those consultant reports, which they buried and were leaked, and when they came out, they said they didn't reflect the RCMP's opinions. So they didn't really get the answer they wanted, so guess what they did? They used your tax dollars to fund more consultant reports, more evaluations of our evaluations. Now let's look at what these consultants had to say. Well, Garth Davies, criminologist at SFU, said, SIF evaluations that have never been critically scrutinized. Many of the existing shortcomings, such as sample size, longitudinal data, and comparative analysis, could be addressed with more rigorous research designs. The question of baseline data is likely to be continued to held hostage to the complexity of logistics and the scarcity of resources. Okay, let's take a few of these points one by one. Never been critically scrutinized. Doesn't say much about the editorial board of the New England Journal of Medicine. Longitudinal data and comparative analysis. The evaluation of Insite is based most importantly on the Vancouver injection drug user study. This is one of the largest and longest standing prospective cohort studies of injection drug users in the world. We have enrolled and followed over 2,000 injection drug users. The study was initiated in 1996-97. Not only do we have baseline data, but we have retrospective data, which is why we were able to publish our paper on syringe sharing in the Lancet, because we were able to show that people who started using the injection site historically shared syringes at very high rates. Mr. Davies doesn't appear to know how to critically review a research study.